Hi everyone, I'm José Pires. I'm partner of Kaizen Institute North America, and we are doing a series of podcasts. And today we will have another person joining us. Thank you for watching. We are here with Sergio. First of all, Sergio is a great friend of mine from I think since our early 20s. So we met. We both took a mechanical engineer in Porto, in Portugal, at that time. So it was late 90s already. And then we studied quite a bit together. And then we after when we come to the, let's say, the market, I think we went on separate ways, but that is a normal thing. But we still have some uh, get together. We get together, let's say, when we can, and when we have, because we were buddies also from college. So today we're having Sérgio Faustino with us. He's the VP of Operations for Frozen at Give and Go Prepared Foods. This is a company, let's say, part of Mondelez Group. So Give and Go has multiple factories around North America, and there's more than 3,000 people everywhere with the revenue of more or less 1 billion Canadian dollars a year. So Sergio, welcome for joining us. I would kindly ask you to introduce yourself and a little bit of your background, if possible.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure, Jose, for your invitation. So a little bit about myself. As you, I'm a mechanical engineer. A little bit of my background professionally. I have around 23 years of experience since I left university, since yesterday, but it was a long time ago. I worked Philip Morris for 5 years after I left university, then moved to Nestlé, where I worked for around 16 years. And for the past 2 years and a bit, I've been working for Give and Go in my current role. I can say I've lived and worked so far in 6 different countries. And has been a great experience and journey so far. So hopefully that gives a bit of a background about myself.
Sergio, thank you very much for the introduction. Could you tell us a little bit more about your role? What is your day-to-day at Give and Go?
Sure. So currently, in my role as a vice president for operations, I'm responsible for 7 sites of operations. 6 of them are in Toronto GTA area, one of them in US. On top of operations, I'm also responsible for maintenance, continuous improvement, and sanitation within the company. My day-to-day kind of varies quite a lot depending on the challenges that we'll be kind of addressing. But normally I try to spend at least 30% of my weekly time on the floor, visiting sites, connecting with teams. And I would say the rest of the time is basically filled with a lot of meetings, some strategic, some more tactical across the company. So I would say not very unusual or uncommon for probably people in my current role.
Very good. And as you talk about that, about your role, I think it's also why we have some of the questions here for you. And I think this is also about your day-to-day, but this is some of the challenges that companies face right now. And what I wanted to ask you right now is, what are, let's say, the biggest issues manufacturing faces on these days? Let's say this is, of course, your perspective and your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to address right now?
I would say for us, for me personally, in my role in our company, in the location we are, probably the biggest challenge we are facing right now is the lack of skilled workers, mainly on maintenance roles. This is a specific issue that we have in Ontario, where our company is based in Canada. But also we can see that in some other locations in US where we have some kind of operations. So it's the biggest challenge, but we're trying to address in different ways.
But this is because they are, let's say you have attrition, they are leaving, or you just don't get them to new roles?
It has been, there's a gap or a lag in terms of the training formation in technical schools for the younger generation on this kind of trades. And the people that we currently have on those roles, they are fast approaching retirement, right? So we have a high risk of losing really valuable people without having our pipeline filled with new people that would need to fill that gap. I know it's a current challenge in Canada, specific in the province, again, where we operate in Ontario, but I feel different conversations with different people in other parts around the globe seems to be a common issue that needs to be addressed.
Okay, yeah, I think that is a common what you're saying and what you're facing in terms even of government. They are setting some of the rules to help, let's say, to invest, let's say, in new people, newcomers coming from outside even. Okay,
Right.
great. Now, jumping into one of the things about, let's say, about management, and this is part of your role. What do you think are the most important, or what is the most important management process that you have to secure results? What is your opinion on this?
I feel basically the connection between the priority strategic goals of our company with daily management systems with our teams on the floor. It's, for me, probably the most important kind of management process. Deploying those management systems, making sure that we have clear metrics, that we can engage and build that accountability within our teams. I think it's a secret to success. I've seen or heard someone. It's an unknown author. I never could really confirm who was kind of the author of this sentence or phrase, but I feel it's linked with you can achieve amazing results, not always by having outstanding ideas, but by actually doing key basic routines exceptionally well every day, right? So that links to the daily management systems, and the reason why I feel and believe that it's probably the key process in our systems that would help us to achieve goals.
So what you're saying in this case is, let's say this part that you have the people engaged, and the people engaged with this daily management is one of the, let's say, the important things to have the results. And of course, this is linked to the policy deployment. And I think maybe my next question that I was having to you, it was about the benchmark of operational excellence companies. So they usually use policy deployment to have this on their business so that their businesses excel. So in this moment, at this point, as Give and Go have a policy of having this deployment in every department or only on operations?
I didn't mention before, so basically our company didn't have any internal CI teams until approximately a year and a half ago. So when we started to implement and deploy this CI structure in the company, one of the key processes we started focusing on was that policy deployment. Today we were able to build that strategic tool, mainly for operations. We are in the process of continuing to expand that to other functional areas and groups within the business, but today is mainly focused in operation.
So you have applied this to operations in this case, and you said so it's frozen and ambient. You have it in both?
Not yet. So we did our strategy of CI deployment in 2 phases. So first was frozen, and then beginning of next year, we'll also be extending that to our ambient part of the business, where we'll continue to further develop this strategic tool.
Okay, very good. So you have this already running for the ops, and then you're, let's say, passing this to the ambient and then also to other departments. Okay, very good.
In ops, it also includes health and safety, quality, engineering,
and maintenance.
Maintenance overall in the company, right? So what we are now doing is bringing that one level down, or in each one of the plans, we are building that same strategic tool so that the leadership teams in each one of the sites, they also have that policy deployment, that strategic plan and tool to guide them in their tracking of results and establishing the strategies to deliver those priorities.
Very good. I know that you were in the past, so you now you run the ops team, and inside the ops team you have a lot of things, and part of it is the CI let's say department that you are running also. And I think, let's say in the past, as you were passing through other, let's say, groups, and I have this as also information from yourself from the past days, you were on the CI team, so you were doing, let's say, CI. I would say 20 years ago or 18 years ago, something like that. But there is a point in time where you need to do coaching. So, and also the managers need to do coaching to the teams. And what I would like you to talk about is, can you talk a little bit about this? How do you coach the management team? What is the best way? Because it's not easy to coach a management team. They always know what to do.
I would say it's not easy to coach, or it's kind of a challenge to coach people in specific situations and point of time. I don't consider myself a great coach. I know people that are a lot better in coaching than I am. But I learned over time and basically through probably making more mistakes than having successes, probably the right approaches to it. I see coaching as a key enabler to foster more collaboration and being a channel or venue to achieve some results, also explore other areas of people personal and professional growth. I believe the most key attribute, in my opinion, is to be a good listener in order to be able to make the right questions and then guide people into the solutions that they might be struggling to see or find for specific issues, right?
Yeah. We have, let's say, we have our opinion also, and I have my personal opinion, and also the Kaizen opinion are the same, is that sometimes people think that coaches are the guys that go there and say, you do this, you do that, you do that. No, I think there is always an agenda, like you were saying, that people need to let it follow, and then you need to ask them, okay, why didn't this went well? Why is this not going well? Why are you struggling with this? And then in that case, you try to coach, you try to help, but not going there and say, you need to do this, you need to do that. Yes, you need to listen.
Right.
You need to be,
Yeah.
You need to listen a lot.
You need to listen a lot. And you mentioned a management team, so I'm assuming that question goes more to the challenge of coaching my peers on specific topics or items regarding continuous improvement. I feel a lot of them understand the concepts. They grasp the intention. For a lot of them, might not be their expertise, right? So I think it's really important to also provide people with a bit more clarity and the work that is being done. And by that, I think we'll, again, allow them to ask questions, try to understand, and then provide the direction and the answers that they might be looking for.
Okay. So, and also talking about your peers, what is more important is the top management commitment or the CEO commitment? And saying this, maybe I would say 20 years ago the answer would be different, but the organizations change a lot right now, and sometimes maybe the CEO wants to do something, but then the team, if you stumble on the team and the team does not want to do it, is difficult. But so, in your opinion, what do you think about this?
I think both are key or important, but if I have to answer, I feel people make the biggest difference in any continuous improvement program, right? And I feel if the management team is not really committed and empowers and energizes the team in that journey, it will be very hard, despite the fact you might have a very committed CEO, but to your point, if management team is not committed, then we'll face a lot of challenges, and the pace of deployment will actually be a lot slower. That's my personal experience.
Okay. And I've seen some of the companies, even let's say North American. I'm more often, let's say, in the US part of it, but I see that companies struggle and they dealt with change. So I'm right now I can see we had a management meeting from Kaizen just 2 days ago. 2 days ago, no, the past week, and they were telling me, oh, this company is passing right now to reorganizational changes, and this company is passing to reorganizational changes. So a lot of them, let's say, sometimes struggle to find the best team, to find the best, let's say, commitment to do this. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me one thing also, and about this subject. What are sometimes you have the team, but sometimes you have the commitment of the CEO, the commitment of, let's say, part of the team, but you don't have commitment from all of the team. So what are the pragmatical ways to have the top management commitment? And by saying that is like having everyone aligned on this. What
That's
is the
a
ways to do this?
very good question. I think, again, my personal view and what we did a bit give and go, and in my previous experience, I think you need to have a strong governance in place around CI, provide visibility of the progress of all the initiatives, and share that with management teams so that pragmatically they can understand and see and participate in the evolution of and that journey. And I think the other part or important part is to help them connect with the reality and the teams on the floor, actually promoting some recognition of the teams on the floor that are actually executing all this continuous improvement on the floor, and help them to understand how that journey is being actually executed bottom up, right? I think when they connect that to the actual reality beyond just a PowerPoint presentation or a meeting in a boardroom, I think things are a lot more powerful, and I could see a much higher level of engagement of those management teams. When you don't do that,
not only the people from the shop floor, but also the people from the management, they feel more engaged when you have, let's say, through connections.
Right. It's a kind of a challenge sometimes. Some management teams are probably different. Every culture in a certain business or division of a business is unique. But I always try to encourage and bring some of those especially key stakeholders on the management team to the floor, to kind of show what the good work that people and the continuous improvement teams on the floor are doing, and I think that provides a lot of good insight. It's inspirational in my view, sometimes seeing people that have never done a presentation in their careers and doing that to a senior member of those companies brings a lot of good, I would say, understanding of some of the challenges, and also recognize the value of the work that those people on the floor are doing every day. And I think then it also makes more clear to the management team what kind of role they need to play in this journey, right?
Very good. Very good. Yeah. I think one of the questions that I had to you part of it, you have, let's say, answered it, but at this point in time, so the daily management is part of the, let's say, the ops of frozen team, or let's say the ops of frozen, let's say it's running the daily management. Now you're passing for the ambient and the other ones, but here you are including also the top management teams. So this, in this case, this arrives to you. You are, but you have the
Yeah. So on the we have some members of the management team included in those daily management meetings, more on a monthly basis, to track kind of our scorecards, understand how we're performing in terms of results, trends, and connecting that to the strategic activities we have in our policy deployment programs, right? So we have already expanded and included on those kind of reviews our supply chain, senior leaders, quality, health and safety, HR. I think the areas where we haven't reached out yet are more marketing and sales, to be honest. Of course, it still needs a lot of refinement, but we are on that journey.
Very good. So you have it. You are going to apply it on non-manufacturing, let's say, like you say, marketing and sales right now, and this will be happening soon. Do you expect an easy task or a difficult task on that one?
I think it's always a little bit more challenging, as people probably don't have in their experience, in their backgrounds doing those roles. They have never experienced this sort of methodologies. I personally feel lucky with the team we have in Give and Go. Actually, the head of sales, SVP of sales, his background is operations, so he really understands well the reality, and he has experience in the past some of the tools. So I feel when the right time comes, and if we decide to move that forward, it wouldn't be a big of a challenge. But in my experience in some other companies, I've felt a lot more challenges to deploy, even though when people see the value, probably they are some of the most consistent adopters of some of those methodologies, right? I think it takes a bit longer to get them to get their buy-in, but I think then they also quickly adapt or adopt the methodologies in a quicker way, based on what I've seen so far.
Yeah, because I think the examples that you usually have to show to those teams are mainly on operations and so on. So it's difficult to challenge them with something when they haven't seen yet, let's say a benchmark or an example. It's not that it's not applicable, it's applicable. I've seen it, it's applicable, but it's not easy to have it, let's say, this working on those teams, because most of the time they don't see it quite often. So Sergio, and about, you talked about the lean team, that the CI team that you have. And I know that those teams usually they get quite a chunk of time to do training by themselves. But I had one question to you, that is, what are your thoughts about training the team? So because my personal experience in North America is you have a lot of companies focused on getting their teams with their certificates and so on to move forward. We always think that the best way, okay, is to have quite a bit of training, but also practice it on the shop floor, because if not, you're not well trained. So what is your, let's say, what is your point of view and what is your standard in give and go?
So I would agree with you. I'm a very big fan of simplicity and being a bit more pragmatic. I feel in Give and Go, and probably in any given other company in North America, but also in any other part of the world, 80% of the issues can be solved with really basic tools or methodologies, right? So we try to focus basically our trainings with our teams on site more on understanding kind of basic principles like loss trees, knowing how to properly use a 5Y and a Ishikawa or fishbone diagram are basically our focus. We have no plans by now to expand those into more complex tools, because we honestly believe that the majority of the issues and the opportunities we have, if we apply those powerful tools, basic but powerful really well, we'll be able to achieve and progress or make the progress we need in our continuous improvement journey. So there's a tendency sometimes to underestimate, or people feel more attracted. I would say it's more sexy to have more trainings on more complex tools, but also depending on of course, the maturity of the organization. If you have been in a continuous improvement journey for 10, 15, 20 years, your people might be already at a level where they will be able to make a good usage of more complex tools. In our case, I think we are still giving our first steps on that journey, and the focus is really on training and development on more simple tools and making sure we can use that exceptionally well every day or when required, right?
So what you say is sometimes we can cover 80% of, let's say, our issues or our attack areas that we need to attack only with 20%, let's say, of the toolkit that we need to use. So, but that is important. And the other thing is we also need to engage, let's say, all the people around. It's not, and I think you said this previous on our podcast. It was that we need robust processes. We don't need only smart people, or we need robust processes. Of course, we would need even let's say, the smarter we have the people, the better. Of course, it's going to be easy. But what we need is people that comply, let's say, with the process that we are working on. So, and I think sometimes people think about hiring smart people, but not thinking about the process that they are having. And I think is always the other way around. So you need to have robust process in place. Okay,
right.
Very good. Sergio, about your role, thank you very much. Now I have some fire questions to you that I would like for you to answer me a little bit quickly. So the first thing, and I think you take care of this, how do you keep your body and mind fit and sharp?
I try to play soccer and golf. I think those are my escapes to keep myself healthy from a mental and physical standpoint. As I get old, I probably start inclining myself more towards golf than soccer, but I'm still able to do something with soccer as well.
Goalkeeper.
No, not still goalkeeper, but reducing the number of times that I can play a week, definitely it's something that I need to manage right now.
Very good. Do you have a favorite business book?
Yeah, I'm not a very good reader, I would say, but
Not a frequent reader.
yeah, I'm not a frequent reader. I need to improve that. Is in my CI improvement list for the next couple of years. But I think maybe the 7 Habits for Effective Leaders from Covey. It's probably one of my favorite ones.
Very good. Thank you. Do you have a favorite podcast you regularly listen to?
No, I'm not a big fan of podcasts. Normally, my day starts with music. My brain needs to get music activated early in the mornings to start functioning. But maybe with this experience, I will start paying a bit more attention and try to find a bit more things to explore in that regard.
If you have a podcast on golf, you will listen to golf, and that you can learn a little bit more. Sometimes it's good.
I prefer to play.
Very good. And hands-on approach. Very good. So who do you think it should be our next podcast guest, and why? You can choose someone you let's say you like, can be a public figure, can be people that you know, can be people that you don't know, whatever you want.
You'll be interesting to do a CI podcast with the next US and Canada future presidents. We have elections in both countries this year. But it might be a little bit hard for you guys to get them in your podcast. Maybe I think it's a very interesting, fast-paced business with a lot of technology. Maybe Tim Cook from Apple would be a good person to interview. Some really good insights I think he could share with the team.
Very good, very good. I need to check if he's available to come.
Yes.
So you can directly address our audience. Anything you can help with, let's say, the audience. So I think here right now is a little bit about your role and your perspective, and also talking about, let's say, the CI. Anything that you want to, any phrase that you want to mention, want to say, so that the guys feel motivated to go on further and further. Because sometimes, as you say, there are people that still didn't start it, people that are still in the middle. There are the ones that start being demotivated because they are doing it for quite a time, and they see results, but they want to do something different. So anything you want to, let's say, to address, say, to our audience?
Well, based on my experience and my failures, for people on the journey of continuous improvement, I think I always try to remind myself not to kill a fly with a bazooka, right? It goes back to the conversation we had before, and using simpler tools will address 80% of your issues. So put more focus on key standard routines, making sure people have the right training and they keep doing really simple things exceptionally well every day, which will gradually help us to move further along in the CI journey. That's a bit more specific to probably the tools, methodologies that we just discussed on this quick podcast. I think for the ones that are already in this journey, as you have in your background, continuous improvement is all about change and getting better. So have fun while you do those changes, and celebrate and recognize the teams while you're doing it. I think it's a key component for us to continue to be engaged and also engage our teams. So I'm happy to connect more if people are interested, but those will probably be my advice or last words before we finish this great session.
Sergio, thank you very much for your comments on all the things that you shared with us. I think it's also very good that you could let's say, share your insights. I think that the points here are let's say, to be committed, to share, to celebrate. I think this is really important. And thank you very much for your time with us, and for sharing your thoughts. Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
It was a good-